Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Craig Burrell, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Major Dale Cooper. We warmly welcome the family of Private David Vallance Kerr Anderson, whose story will be told shortly. We warmly welcome members from police jurisdictions around the country joining us today to mark National Police Remembrance Day. This significant day commemorates all those Australian police officers who have been killed on duty or have died as a result of their duties. We also warmly welcome the delegation representing the Gallipoli Scholarship Fund. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Please be seated if you can do so. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the hearts of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have died while serving in war and on operations for this country for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private David Vallance Kerr Anderson. David Anderson was born on the 15th of February 1893 in Buninyong, Victoria. He was the son of Francis and Catherine Anderson, who ran a local produce business. Anderson had two brothers, Willie and Robert, and two sisters, Catherine and Mary. Anderson was a talented sportsman, playing in both the local cricket team and the local football team. He was also academically minded, receiving his education at Ballarat College and later at Scotch College in Melbourne, where he received top grades in all of his subjects. On completion of his schooling, Anderson attended Ormond College at Melbourne University, where he studied law. The beginning of his academic career was marred by tragedy when his parents and both of his brothers succumbed to illnesses and died in short succession. Anderson took a break from his study during that period of grief, but returned to Ormond to resume his studies when war broke out in 1914. Anderson enlisted with his good friend James Agnew on the 31st of July 1915. The pair were assigned to the Army Medical Corps as special reinforcements and embarked from Melbourne in March 1916 on board the hospital ship Karula. Anderson reached Egypt in late April, when the focus of the war was shifting to the Western Front. He and Agnew transferred to the 12th Field Ambulance and became stretcher bearers. In June, Anderson sailed from Alexandria to Marseille in France, where he joined his unit on the Western Front. Anderson first saw action with his unit at Pozières in August 1916. The enemy held the high ground surrounding the village of Pozières, which gave them a distinct advantage, allowing them to launch devastating attacks on Allied lines. The field ambulance played a key role in the front lines. After more than 19 separate attacks and 42 days of fighting, casualties amounted to more than 22,000. This was Private Anderson's introduction to the Western Front. In 1917, Anderson's unit saw service at Bullecourt and Mézine, where Allied casualties were similarly appalling. By September, plans were underway to attack German defensive positions at Polygon Wood. Polygon Wood was a significant landmark on the Ypres salient and an essential part of Allied attempts to take Passchendaele. By 1917, the wood had been reduced to burnt stumps. German forces had fortified the area with concrete blockhouses, barbed wire, and an observation post, making Polygon Wood a treacherous target for the advancing troops. The attack was launched on 26th of September. Despite heavy resistance, Allied troops were able to secure their objectives and consolidate the line within days. This success was not without cost. However, by the end of the battle, Allied casualties amounted to 20,000 killed, wounded, or taken prisoner. It was during this offensive that Anderson was awarded the Military Medal for bravery in the field when he rescued a truck full of wounded soldiers from a cloud of poison gas. As the fighting continued, Anderson was carrying wounded troops from the battlefield behind the lines near Ypres. On the 19th of September, he was returning from a dressing station with his friend, Private Agnew, when a shell burst on their path, killing Agnew instantly and severely wounding Private Anderson. Anderson was taken by ambulance to the 10th Casualty Clearing Station, where little could be done for him. He was tended to for several days until he succumbed to his injuries and died of wounds on the 1st of October 1918. Anderson's remaining family commemorated the young private in the Melbourne Argus, saying, "He made the great sacrifice, saving others. Greater love hath no man than this." Private David Anderson was buried at Lissenthal Military Cemetery in Belgium, next to his mate, Private James Agnew. He now lies under the words of his bereft sisters, in proud and loving memory of our only brother. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private David Vallance Kerr Anderson, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director and staff, we thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.